Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, New Hampshire friends remember Bush as man who gave to this country his fullest. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Get jingly at the Made in New England Expo. Experience the incredible array of New England-made products.
In his visits as a candidate, a vice president, and a president, George H.W. Bush forged a lifetime connection to the Granite State. As America mourns the passing of its 41st president, Bush's former chief of staff, Governor John H. Sununu, says from the front lines of World War II to the White House, it's hard to imagine there will be another leader with such an extensive record of serving his country.
He had a great history of service, but as president in particular, I think he had a huge impact on the world.
Even though President Bush had been in failing health, Sununu says the enormity of this loss is still deeply felt.
No matter how much you anticipate it's imminent, when it does happen, it really does hit you.
When Governor Sununu joined the new administration in 1989, he brought his family with him. The current governor, Chris Sununu, remembers President Bush always cared how he was doing.
We were a bit uprooted, right? We had moved down to Washington, my younger brother and myself and my parents, and I think he, whenever we saw him, he was always very good about taking a moment and coming aside and saying, hey, how's it going?
It's a common refrain. Joel Mayola, future chief of staff to Senator Judd Gregg, volunteered for the Bush 1980 presidential campaign as a college student.
And he would ask about my classes. He would want to know what's happening in my life, and was truly inspirational to have somebody that was running for president be so friendly.
As it is for any president, New Hampshire was a proving ground for Bush. He came here to the Scammon Farm in Stratham, running for re-election in 1992.
The whole road was backed up with buses and the press and people, and it was just an amazing experience.
The Scammons say even with all the trappings of presidential power, Bush was still the same kind man they had always known.
He was truly a person who did and gave to this country his fullest.
Adam Sexton, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Driver seriously injured in collision with Bedford cruiser, police say. A Bedford police cruiser was involved in a collision Saturday night as an officer was trying to pull over a car, the police chief said. Chief John told WMUR that the officer was trying to stop a car for a traffic violation when the cruiser collided with another vehicle. The driver of that vehicle, who Chief John said is a Bedford resident, was taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The officer was treated and released. Chief John said the car the officer was trying to stop was not involved in the collision. The crash remains under investigation. Police, naked man stunned with taser after trying to punch Merrimack police. A man walking completely naked in the parking lot of a Merrimack hotel was stunned with a taser on Friday night after police say he tried to punch an officer. Richard Chase, 52, has been charged with indecent exposure, attempted assault, and resisting arrest. Police were called to the residence at Daniel Webster Hotel about 10:30 Friday night after someone reported that a nude Chase was knocking on a guest door. Officers found Chase in the parking lot and said he became aggressive, according to a Merrimack police press release. Police said they deployed a taser after Chase tried to punch an officer who avoided being hit and continued to be combative. He was taken into custody a short time later. Chase is set to appear in court December 13th. Police said he was out on parole on weapons charge. Man accused of deliberately setting car on fire on Spalding Turnpike. A man is facing charges after police say he deliberately set his car on fire on the Spalding Turnpike in Dover and then ran from the scene. David Vigue, 30 of Tilton, has been charged with arson and reckless conduct. State police said Vigue set his 2017 Subaru WRX obliviously shortly before noon Saturday on the southbound side of the turnpike. He left the area and was found a short time later in Hilton Park, where he was taken into custody, state police said in a press release. Nobody was injured in the fire, but the southbound side of the turnpike was shut down for a while as crews ignited the blaze. Vierger is set to be arraigned Monday on both felony charges. Anyone with information about the incident is asked to contact State Police Trooper Pestro Lazo at 603-223-8490 or pestro.lazo at dus.newhampshire.gov. Family leaders would reflect on former President George H.W. Bush's legacy. Let's take a look at the video and slideshow.
Get jingly at the Made in New England Expo. Experience the incredible array of New England to make.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that slideshow. And the third day of the 2018 Spirit of Giving toy drive is slowly wrapping up. It ends at 6 p.m. at the Manchester location and at 6 p.m. at the Newington location at the crossing. So you have until 6 p.m. to get over there and donate a new wrap toy for kids and teenagers in need. And let's listen to this video from WMUR Cassidy, who is live at the Walmart in Manchester. Okay, it looks like we're having a little technical difficulties. Give me 1 minute, everyone. Let's see if we can try again. Okay, here we go. Let's listen in.
Hey everyone, it's Cassidy again. We are still at the Manchester Walmart. It is 5:22 right now. We are wrapping up at 6. So still some time left, but we hope that you will get down here and make a donation to the New Hampshire Toy Drive if you have not yet. I am joined by a very special guest, saved the best for last, kidding. But we have here with us Sergeant Daniel Lectora of the United States Marine Corps. Sergeant, thank you so much for being here today and helping us out.
It's an honor, it really is.
So, Sergeant, can you tell me a little bit, as much as you can, about the history of the partnership between the U.S. Marine Corps and Toys for Tots? Because I know this is something very special to the Corps that you and your colleagues take part in every year.
Yeah, so every year around October through all the way to December, we always start Toys for Tots, and this has always been important to us, as it's just another way for us to be giving back to the community. It's giving back to just making sure that a child has a present and basically a Christmas every single year. It's always about the children. It really is.
Awesome. So how many toys are we looking to collect here through the Marine Corps for Toys for Tots for Christmas this year?
For this year, we're trying to get at least, I want to get well over 50,000. Goal.
Whoa, okay.
It's a goal. We're going to meet it.
Very good. So what have you been seeing? Because you've been out here, been helping out this weekend. You've been seeing a lot of people come by. Like, what's the spirit been like here at Walmart as we've been collecting toys for Tots this weekend?
It's been great. It really has. It's been great. It's been busy this past 3 days. This whole weekend has been busy. So many different groups came. Just the people stopping by just to drop off toys. And they're all happy. They all have a smile on their face while they're dropping off the toys.
So what's the process like going forward here? Because like I said, we are wrapping up here at Walmart in the next 35 minutes or so. But Toys for Tots does not end today. Like when is the cutoff, and how long are you collecting for kids here through New Hampshire and nationwide with the Marines?
So for the cutoff right now, we have December 12th. December 12th is the last day that you could drop off toys, any type of donation. It is go on the Toys for Tots website for Southern New Hampshire. It will have all the places that you could drop off toys all by December 12th.
Now, do you have that? Do you know what that website is? Can you tell us?
Yes, it's going to be toysfortots.org, and then when you get on there, it's probably going to ask you to find your campaign. That's when you select the state of New Hampshire, select your county, and after you select your county, it should take you to Southern New Hampshire Toys for Tots page.
Awesome. So the cutoff is the 12th. What's the process like going forward there? Like what's the distribution like, getting the toys to kids around the country? You guys, it doesn't end for the Marines there. You're still busy after that, right?
Right, definitely. It's just after we collect all the toys, it's more crunch time. It's just more distributing all the toys to all the charities and nonprofits in a timely manner. That's all at the end.
Awesome. And it just really shows what, a service-oriented organization the Marines is, other than obviously protecting us, our country, but also, things like making sure kids have a great Christmas. I think that's just so important for people to remember about what the Marine Corps does for our country.
Right, and in the end, though, it always comes down to the community. The community is really giving back, and they're showing great support, and we won't be able to be this successful without the community of New Hampshire.
Awesome. So if people don't get out today, tell our viewers where else people can still make a drop-off for Toys for Tots between now and the 12th. I know Service Credit Union's taking them. Yeah.
Yeah, just you can go on the website as well. Get on the website. They will show all the drop-off locations on there as well. Even if you're just shopping around and you see a Toys for Tots box, feel free to just drop a brand new unwrapped toy, and that's just another way all the way till December 12th.
So they're everywhere, pretty much.
Basically everywhere. Yeah. They're placed all over southern New Hampshire.
Awesome. Well, Sergeant, thank you so much for both your service and your help to us today.
Thank you very much.
Guys, we're going to sign off, and you've got like another...
Okay, and there you go. And again, it ends at both locations at 6 p.m. this evening. But it doesn't end there. You can still go on that website and find other locations. Service scheduled for George H.W. Bush's funeral. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
We remember the life of George Herbert Walker Bush, our 41st president. He was a devoted husband to Barbara, who passed away herself in April of this year. He was the son of a U.S. senator, and of course, he was the father of George W. Bush, the 43rd president.
A man who brought to the White House a dedication to traditional American values, who promised to bring to the world a kinder and gentler nation.
And you're looking at a live shot right now out of Houston, where there is a statue of the former president. You can see some have already left flowers.
He is beloved in his hometown of Houston. Meanwhile, at the White House, the flag is at half-staff to honor the man who devoted his life to serving this country. We have team coverage this morning, and we begin here with ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran, who's in Washington. Terry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, guys. It is really the end of an era, isn't it? The passing of a remarkable American. George Herbert Walker Bush is often called the most successful one-term president the country's ever had. He became president at an absolutely critical time in world history, the end of the Cold War, as you said, and he handled it all superbly. His whole life seemed to have prepared him for that moment, and what a life it was. January 19...
Okay, and there you go on some of that video from ABC News. If you want to watch that full video report, you can just go to the link. We will have that link for you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. The official schedule for a ceremony honoring the late George H.W. Bush was released on Saturday. The 4-day tribute includes lying in the U.S. Capitol for parts of 3 days, a funeral at the Washington National Cathedral, and eventual burial at George Bush Presidential Library and Museum. The ceremony will begin Monday with a departure ceremony at Ellington Field Joint Reserves Base in Houston at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Bush remains will be flown from Houston to Joint Base Andrews in Prince George's County in Maryland. There will also be a ceremony on arrival of the former president's remains at Joint Andrews at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday. From there, the president's casket will be taken to the U.S. Capitol in Washington. George H.W. Bush Bush's casket will lie in the state from 5 p.m. Monday until 10 a.m. on Wednesday. A guard of honor will be in attendance, and the public will be allowed into the Capitol from 7:30 p.m. Monday until 8:45 a.m. Wednesday. There will be a departure ceremony for Bush's at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday at 10 a.m., and his casket will arrive at the Washington National Cathedral 5 miles away at 11 a.m. The funeral at the Washington National Cathedral set to be attended by a wide array of former presidents and politicians, including Donald Trump, will last 90 minutes. Following the funeral, Bush will return to Joint Andrews Base at 1:15 p.m. and depart back to Houston. His arrival at Ellington Field is expected at 4:30 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday. Bush will then lie in ropes at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, where First Lady Barbara Bush's funeral was held in April. The president's casket will depart by railroad on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. CT and arrive at Texas A&M University in College Station, home to George Bush Presidential Library and Museum, at 3:45 p.m. Bush, an admirer of trains, has had a special one with a glass viewing car designed to carry his remains to Intermenton. Bush will be interred next to his wife and daughter Robin at 4:15 p.m. And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone. Bye.